This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon, and today I want to ask you the question, are you a human being or are you a human doing? And this is a pretty important question because it's so easy to stay in today's world and keep ourselves busy, right? It's like we're busy being busy. And in fact, if you ask somebody, how have you been, or how's work, or how's this? It's like, yeah, man, really busy. It's like, okay, well, what does that actually mean? And I've mentioned before, I read a book, The 4-Hour Workweek. I read this in like the first week or the first fortnight that I had my business. And I remember I'm like, all right, I just have to work my ass off and, have my head in the right spot. But I was just making myself busy. I was just a human doing, just doing things and not really doing anything productive. And that was the key of going, are you busy or are you productive? And it's like, most likely we can get more done in a smaller period of time when we're productive. And a good example of that is when you have a timeline and funnily enough, you get more shit done in lesser time, or you wait until your last day before you get your assignment done, whatever it may be. But the example there is looking at it and going, in today's world, are you spending more time doing or more time being? And this isn't sacrificing the importance of getting shit done. I think that's significantly important, and seeing something through to the end, becoming a finisher and completing your projects, your goals, and your chores. I think that in itself is inherently more important than especially us Gen Ys really think it is. And in fact, us Gen Ys that are able to see things through to the end will be the people to lead the generation from there. So that's something really heavily to consider. Now, if you've done the Enneagram and you come in as a strong type 7, you might find things very difficult to finish because everything is shiny and I want to do all the things all the time. And then, oh, look at this thing. And the next thing is like you're always thinking ahead. And this is something that I've run into before as a problem. It's like, okay, well, the next thing's going to be better, but right, guys. And so it's this understanding that it's like you're not actually owed the future. That's crucial to understand. So you can prepare for the future as much as you want, but the problem is you're going to get there and keep trying to fucking prepare for the future. It's like you never actually end up existing, for one. What's all the work for that you did for somebody else? Because the reality is that if you're not working for your goals, chances are you are working for somebody else's, and that is something crucial. It doesn't mean that those two things can't work side by side, because they can. And in fact, when you work with on your goals and the person next to you is working with you on their goals, that's powerful. Like, that's where people can really gain some momentum and really help each other out and get the most out of each other. And I think that's a really crucial thing to understand. And it's just that while we're doing, we have to make sure that we actually set some time aside to be able to reflect, to be able to, and consciously do this, right? To be able to reflect, to be able to think about the future that we do want and what it is that we have to do and who we have to be in order to move there, in what areas of our lives, and ask these questions from a curious standpoint, not a judgmental standpoint, but be curious about our life in the sense of going, okay, well, if I was to do or be that, what is it that I have to develop? What is one thing, or the one thing for now, that I have to develop in order to become that? And a lot of the time people come into the gym and they're like, oh, I've got so far to go. It's like, I've got so many things to work on. I'm like, man, you have one thing to work on. And that's exactly the same thing as me. It's just one. And when you get really good at that one thing, then you can do the next thing. It's funny, I had my podcast today with Nick Shaw from Renaissance Periodization, and that'll be up later on, but it'll probably be actually up before this one. But either way, we talked about Rich Froning. If you don't know who Rich Froning is, Google the guy, right? And so he's working with Rich on his nutrition, on his diet, effectively. And they had to make a few changes. And Rich got it, and he's like, oh, right, okay, that's a lot of food. And Nick's like, oh, I don't know, what should I do here? Like, that's what he should be eating. And he's like, all right, I'm just going to focus on making the breakfast really good, and then when I get that down pat, I'll do the next thing. It's like the best fucking most successful people in the world focus on one thing at a time. They get good at it and then they add to it. And this is the principle of starting basic and build. He has the ability to have the self-awareness to know that one thing at a time, focus on what you're good at, focus on, don't practice something till you get it right, practice till you can't get it wrong. And where this ties right back into the human being versus human doing is, rather than simply just going full steam ahead at something and then losing the steam, it's the self-awareness. Your human beingness, your humanness allows you to do better. So when you slow down, it actually helps you to speed up, rather than when you slow down, you think you're not actually progressing or ticking things off. Slowing down gives you the time to breathe, see if you need to pivot. Otherwise, what you might find is that you're fucking 7 years down the road and you're like, why have I hated my job for a position that I didn't even fucking want? And like, that's a crucial question. It could be said the same thing for a relationship. It could be said the same way that you train. It could be said for anything. But that's your prerogative to look at that information and apply it to yourself. Because somewhere in your life, you know that's going to align and you know that's going to hit. And what should I do? Well, the question is one thing at a time. What's the one thing that I could do to make my life that little bit better today? What is the one thing that I can trade, right? It's like, when we're trying to improve or develop or become better, we start adding shit. And we add shit. We add an app. We add things that we try and read more. We try and listen to some podcasts. We try and do more. And it's like, no, it's like, look at the junk time that you're doing. Get rid of the junk in your day. When you get rid of the junk, you can trade it in for something way more resourceful and way more supportive for what it is that you truly want to do. And so it's not so much about adding shit to your day as it is about clearing shit out of your day to free up time to do the good thing so that you can be at your best. Give yourself the opportunity. Slow down in order to speed up. The most important thing here is, and this is for, I would say, any type, right? If you've done the Enneagram, any variation of that, it's like self-care can come across as some sort of corny, wish-washy type of, a postmodern, like, sales pitch. And it's just fucking not. It's like we've tried the opposite as a society, and we've seen it. We've seen the obesity rates rise. We've seen depression rise. We've seen suicide rise. We have to take care of ourselves, because how the fuck else are we meant to teach our children to take care of themselves? Because it's nobody else's responsibility to take care of you. So you should have some sort of mental break. And it doesn't mean you have a mental health day off work, because people have a mental health day and then just go sit in front of Netflix, eat shit, and fucking watch rubbish. It's like, and if you do that, you might feel a bit defensive as I say that, but it's like, we'll sit with that, figure it out. Like, your mental health day should be your ability to walk out and get outside in the nature of life and be able to breathe oxygen, right? Think about it. And this is crucial, but we can do that. We don't need a whole day off work, right? If you need a whole day off work for that, maybe I'm sitting from a special spot, but maybe it's time to reconsider what your hobbies are. And I mean that with all the love in the world. I mean that with the sense that the most effective currency is your ability to have foresight for regret. If you can really fast forward what your future may look like and realize that if I kept doing this for 10 years, would I regret it or would I be happy about it? And there's your answer right there. Team, I'm going to finish up. Thank you very much for this podcast. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, I hope you would pass it on to a friend that you think would also enjoy it. Otherwise, as always, until next time, peace and pizza, kick today in the dick, and slay the dragon. I'll see you soon.